Welcome, everybody, to the How to Let Go of a Narcissist podcast, where we explore healing journeys and tools to help survivors of narcissistic abuse reclaim their power. I'm your host, Marv Curtis, and today I'm honored to welcome Todd as our guest. He's found his way through some tough times, and he's here to share some insights that might help you on your path. Welcome, Todd. How are you today?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. So glad to have you here. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
If you would, can you share a little bit about yourself and what led you to this point in your healing journey?
Sure. Started a relationship 6 years ago, and I was on again, off again, and it's really rough times, scary times. Got married, got divorced, and I'm on my healing journey now. That's where I'm at.
So prior to this one, had you had any other experiences with narcissism or neglect?
And to my knowledge, no. I saw that question, and I don't think so, that I can recall.
Yeah, totally blindsided.
Truly. Yeah.
So obviously, there must have been a specific moment where you kind of had a realization something's not right here. What happened?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just talking to a friend in 2019. I went on vacation to Bend, Oregon, and she flew her in, and just my favorite city in America at the time. And she showed me who she was, but I didn't believe her. And that was my first inkling that just something's wrong here. And then it just kind of kept going to the tune of being put in jail by made up stories, lies. And I still went back. And then the final inkling, or the final straw, whatever the word you want to use, is you can't make this stuff up. You can, but I don't think he's that good. I was in Wisconsin, and I called her out on leaving the cabin to go cheat on me in another city while I stayed with my stepson. And as a result of me calling her out on it, she left and left me at Wisconsin, took the car. And that's when I decided this isn't good in front of my whole family. My family was there.
Wow. So just because we have the fishing bond, you got to tell me when and how she stabbed her mounted fish.
No, it's as well. It's actually over there. So that was during the time they got separated from the police story. Yeah. So while I was moved out of the house, going through all this legal rigmarole, she stabbed my fish. My fish.
In spite.
She found everything that was important to me, which is a fish and my dog and my ice fishing stock. She says she has no recollection that she did it.
Right.
And I gotta add this one. My family and I are 90% convinced she killed my dog.
Oh my goodness. That is tragic. So what's the police story?
Yeah, wild. How do I share that? Shortest version, thought she was cheating on me. Of course she was. But I, twisted and turned on it. Of course she wasn't in her world. I saw on her phone that she was texting a gentleman, and I took her phone and I ran into my bedroom and had the phone and was scrolling through it. And she took a hammer. Again, this is so crazy to tell these stories, but it's true. She took a hammer to the door and started banging down the door because I wouldn't let her in. Mother-in-law lived downstairs. Mother-in-law came upstairs. She's yelling at me. I'm yelling through the door. This is just drama and chaos. And the long story long, the police end up being called. The police come. There's 3 different police reports. One said I threw her on the couch. One said I got on top of her and wouldn't let her go. And one of them said that her words, that I raped her. And it was just this madness. And I got thrown into jail, and then I felt a month and a half worth of legal battles and defending myself with text messages and timestamps and all these things. Yeah, she got into my email. I mean, these are crazy stories. She got into my emailed where I work, that I wanted to kill her and my son. Said, if you don't do this or that, I will kill you. And so she showed these fake emails to the police.
Wow. Well, there's no end to the crazy stories that I hear on this podcast.
Yeah. Can't imagine. I even saying that. Holy cow.
But you finally got it straightened out.
Yeah. So the legal stuff, she dropped everything because she had nothing. But yeah, we got it all figured out and everything's dropped and sealed now. But thousands of dollars in attorney fees, and I almost lost my job, but they know who I am, and they stood behind me, and yeah.
Wow. So early on in the relationship, were you getting any intuitive hits that maybe there was something wrong here?
100%. And there's a question somewhere that we're going to talk about, where I will tell people to trust their intuition. I knew, we met in December in a castle in Germany, kind of a fairy tale. Love bombed, came to visit me 2 weeks after, meeting for the first time. But so that was December. So by January, the lies had already started, the cheating had already started. So yeah, it was a month in. Yeah.
And what made you stay?
Yeah, great question. The future faking, that everything's going to be all right once we're together, once we're in Colorado. Yeah. Yeah, the future faking. It was, yeah.
They make great liars.
Oh my God. My life was fine. It was fine. My life was fine. I was building a tiny home. I had 10 acres. My job was fine. Wife was fine. Yeah.
All undone.
Yeah.
So as you look back, what was one strategy or tool that made the biggest difference in your recovery?
No contact, for sure.
No contact. And she's tried to get around that, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it took a while. She started dating someone while I was still living in our house, while we're still married. Literally, no shame, having come pick her up at the house. So she was in a little bit of her honeymoon stage for a while. So I didn't hear from her really for a couple months. But then we had to figure out the house stuff. And then it goes from emails to text messages to a phone call. And then she weaseled her way back in when I was tired and sick. And yeah.
They have a way of knowing when you are vulnerable, don't they?
Yeah. 6th sense. Perfect timing. Perfect stuff.
So if you look back and you think, what was the biggest challenge or the hardest thing? What was the big hill that you had to get over?
As far as the healing goes, or as far as the whole,
Well,
man, biggest swoosh. It's really hard. Like there's a couple. One is just getting me back. Like I was a shell of myself. I was 45 pounds heavier. So I was fat. I was depressed. I was lethargic. All of that, like the personal letting go and just not carrying it. Like I was just beat down. So I didn't care about anything, let alone myself.
And how'd you overcome that?
No contact. Like literally hour by hour, day by day, getting back to doing the stuff that's healthy for me.
So as you look back, if you could give yourself, your past self, one piece of advice, especially during those hardest moments, what would that advice be?
Yeah, I think that was the question I was looking at. And I go back to the start of it all. If I would have believed her when she showed me who she was the first time, if I would have trusted my intuition the first time, I wouldn't have gone through this hell.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you're fairly intuitive. I mean, you could feel that you were getting intuition and you probably relied on it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of one of the characteristics of the narcissist to just blow right past your best judgment. I don't know how they do it, but they seem to be fairly compelling. So if you were going to, go ahead.
No, for sure. No, I'm with you.
If you were to leave a message for anyone who's listening now who might be in a similar situation to you, what would it be?
I mean, run. Like, and trust yourself and run. I just, I've done my research. I've read my books. I've listened to my audiobooks. I've heard other stories. It's all the same. It's all the same. So
yeah,
when you see it, get away from it.
So how do you validate those intuitive hits to where you can say, yeah, I got to believe that? There's got to be something that worked where you finally listened to your intuition. What made the difference?
I had to get away. So prior to the relationship, loved to trust my intuition. Didn't take about a month or two for me to just question everything. I was so confused. So now moving forward to answer your question, there's just getting away from the situation and then just starting to trust myself again.
Yeah. So what I've noticed is that narcissists can almost infect you with their energy and their belief system to where you start to live through their beliefs, not even your own. And that's when everything falls apart. It's kind of like you've absorbed their energy and it becomes your own. Very hard to overcome.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard the stories and this is worse than a heroin addiction. I don't want to try that. Like, I don't wish it did on anyone. This is awful.
Well, any parting thoughts?
I just thank you for your time and what you're doing, and I'm hopeful that people will listen early on and not get down this rabbit hole because they try to tie you in with house payments or kids or make you financially dependent on them, and they just have a way of doing it. So if you can stop it soon, I hope that for everyone.
It's good advice. Stopping it sooner in the beginning, if possible. It's great advice. Well, thank you, Todd. Appreciate you taking the time to visit with us. I'm sure there will be people who will benefit from hearing your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.